السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أنا أسامة المسكري وهذه زوجتي. صار لنا حادث سير في السلطنة، سلطنة عمان، تاريخ 2/9/2015. من بعد هذا الحادث انتقلنا إلى مستشفى العسكري طوارئ، بعدها انقلونا إلى مستشفى خولة. صار لنا مدة في مستشفى خولة تقريبا شهر ونص. طلعت من العناية بعد أسبوعين، وجلسنا شهر ونص في مستشفى خولة. بعدها تعرفت على زميل معي في الهند اسمه منوج، عرفني على هذا المستشفى كولومبيا آسيا في بنغلور، وانتقلنا إلى هنا وصارت معهم العناية بفضل الله ثم بفضلهم. طبعا احنا كنا أول مواصلين، كانت المدام ما تاكل ولا تتكلم ولا تمشي، أصلا ما تتحرك نهائيا، كانت مجرد بس تفتح العين. فبفضل الله وبفضل الدكاترة اللي موجودين هنا الحمد لله رب العالمين تحسنت حالتها. بعد شهرين ونص تقريبا تحسنت الحالة كثير، صارت تمشي، صارت تاكل وتشرب وتسولف معنا، والحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله والشكر.
In case of Abir, it was the fate turning 180 degrees in the sense that she can walk, she can talk, and they are going back to their home country tomorrow. This was not the case about 2.5 months back when Osama, Abir's husband, got in touch with us. We came to know that she had undergone a surgery after an accident, neurosurgery, and she was on ventilator, and there was no hope that the family had with respect to seeing her walk, talk, or do anything, for that matter, become independent. So the moment they told us, considering the case was very critical at that point of time, having undergone surgery, we were also a little worried. So we started scouting for what can be the solution. We reached out to Columbia Asia, we spoke with the doctor, we spoke with the rehab team, and there was a complete plan that was created over a period of next 2 weeks time frame, in consultation with the doctor there in Oman, with a lot of reports that were exchanged, and finally we had a conclusive commitment that we could make to the patient and the family. There was a huge resolve that the patient's family had shown with respect to getting her back to her normal life, and that made them take the leap of faith into what we had told them. Considering that the patient was critical, we were also worried about whether the transportation, getting them here, making all the arrangements, and more importantly, unlike any other procedures where you understand that things would be taken care immediately, in this there is a lot of persistence and a long drawn sustained effort that goes in, not just from the clinical side but also from the patient side. Whether the patient can get motivated, can they sustain and continue with that, is something that we were worried about. Somehow we were very happy to see that things have turned around very positive. The family is very happy, and from what could have been versus what it is today, there's a huge difference.
Abir Mubarak, 27-year-old lady from Muscat, was referred here for rehabilitation. We got Mrs. Abir for rehabilitation from the neurosurgeon. After the initial evaluation done by the neurosurgeon and was decided a fit candidate or a stable candidate for all forms of rehabilitation, we received Abir for all forms of therapy. All forms of therapy includes physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech and swallowing therapies. When we initially evaluated Abir, there were lots of compromises what we found on her. She had significant, profound bedside complications, and it was really challenging for us to rehabilitate Abir. Her visual tracking was very poor for verbal commands. Her movements was not purposeful. She had tightness all over her body, in the neck, and she was confined to a bed for about 60 days before she landed up into Columbia Asia Hospital. And then we started our therapy on her. First, we had to mainly make herself sit and get her balance, and then slowly we started with swallowing and speech therapy with her. So she was basically on tubes first when we started her rehabilitation. So The swallowing therapy and speech therapy which we gave to her intensively in the start of rehabilitation was very helpful to remove the tubes very faster, and then we started on oral feeds, and simultaneously occupational therapy and physiotherapy was also initiated to her. Physiotherapy was more of stretching, strengthening, making her sit, gaining her balance, improving her coordination and making her movements more purposeful. Occupational therapy was more concentrated towards improving her functional abilities. We did activities like rolling, getting up from the bed, asking her to dress by herself, all these grooming activities, activities of daily living, activities which are needed to suffice her daily living needs was given to her from occupational therapy side. So a holistic rehabilitation program to her in all forms of physiotherapy, speech therapy and occupational therapy was driven to her, and for almost 8 weeks she underwent rehabilitation, and now she is in the present state where she is independent. She is walking in a walker, she can get up from the bed by herself, she can speak, she takes food, she can take normal foods, she is speaking normally, she is responsive, she can do anything. All coordinated activities, coordinated movements are present in her, and with a holistic support from the therapist, from the surgeon, from the doctors who saw her, and from the family support, which was very essential and vital for her recovery from this part, was very helpful for us to make Abir completely functional and independent in most of her activities of her normal living. Now Abir can get up and walk by herself, she can go to the washroom and then come back by herself, which is very vital, the basic need. Now Abir can talk, Abir can speak, Abir can write now. So she is independent in most of her activities. A few therapies still persisting which can be continued at her home, and then she will be back to normal.
Yeah. Ms. Abir is a 28-year-old lady. She had a very bad road traffic accident in her country, which is Oman, and since then has had very severe head injury. She's had what is called as diffuse axonal injury. So when she was in Oman, she stayed in the hospital for almost 2 months, and even after that she couldn't even get up, she couldn't speak, she was completely mute, was unable to eat. So she had a tube put through her nose into her stomach and was being fed through that. So the family decided that for rehab they would move her to India. So when she came here and when we saw her, Abir was conscious but she was not responding to commands. She was not taking food orally, she was not speaking at all, and she couldn't walk. She needed a lot of support to walk, even to the basic needs like going to the bathroom and things like that. She had a very dedicated family in terms of her husband and brother and mother. They all accompany her, and once she reached here, then we did a fresh set of CT and MRI scans for her and found that there was no significant big clot or any kind of an injury which would need any kind of a major surgical intervention. So we did some small surgical interventions from which she improved, and after that we started on extensive therapy of neuro rehab, which included swallowing therapy, speech therapy and also active physiotherapy. So over a period of about 2 months, Abir showed significant improvement. At the end of the first month itself, we could see that she had significantly improved in their ability to swallow, because we have a very special swallowing therapist who kind of starts with the patient and encourages them and gives them more and more exercises to improve their swallowing muscles. So over a period of this 60 days that she stayed with us, she gradually improved, and finally to an extent that she was able to swallow on her own and also to walk. So it was a very happy journey, not only for Abir and his family, but also for us to see that for a patient who couldn't even get up, who was unconscious but not responding, to improve to an extent where she could speak, swallow and also do activities of daily living. So like I was already mentioning, this not only involved just simple basic exercises, but an extensive planned neuro rehab program which we have established at Columbia Asia Hospital. So this involves not only the neurosurgeon who is the primary treating physician. In addition to that, it involves a team of specialists of neuro rehab, neuro speech therapist and swallowing therapist. So we have been able to achieve these kind of results in a lot of our patients because of the complete teamwork that we see. We also have an occupational therapist who helps us in improving the whatever particular occupation the patient is, to teach them fine exercises which improve their gait, improve their activity and improve their movement. So even though Abir had some stiffness of limbs, we could manage that with only medicines and treatment, and then she significantly improved. And once she was being discharged, she was walking with the help of a minimal support and also was speaking relevantly and eating orally. So this has been a very good response that we saw from Ms. Abir. Thank you.